Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about something special that we have in common with our crested friends, intelligence. Even though you may know someone who thinks that drinking cleaning products is a good idea, humans and all other primates stand out as exceptionally smart compared to most other animals. When talking about primate intelligence, we often refer to cognition. Cognition is defined by two famous primatologists, Sapajus and Cheney, as the ability to interpret and connect information that is perceived in the world, and to then apply this personal knowledge adaptively to future situations and problems. In other words, it's being able to learn and change appropriately in response. Cognition is super important to learn about because it permits animals to improve their fitness or survival and reproduction, which is the main goal of all living things. For instance, because you have good cognitive abilities, you would likely know if you were outside in the hot sun, it would be best to find shade or some sort of shelter so that you didn't burn or become dehydrated. If you lacked cognition, you would not put together the fact that being in the hot sun would lead to negative consequences and that these can be avoided simply by moving, and you'd probably just sit and suffer. Cognition emerges in many forms. Cognitive mapping, which is simply using mental representations to store and recall details such as location, is one of these. When someone asks for directions to your house, it's likely that you or your parent are able to tell them without having to look at a map each time because you have a mental image of your location and where other things are, such as particular streets and landmarks. When people talk about your mind's eye, they tend to mean envisioning an image in your head of something which is essentially cognitive mapping. Even though you never see capuchins asking for directions, they also have this mind's eye. Memory and future planning are also hallmarks of cognition. When Mateo has a nut that is too tough to open with his hands, he often goes immediately to where he had left a rock previously, without having to look all around the enclosure for a new one. This is because, after using the rock previously, he knew that he would likely have to use it again upon finding another hard nut, so he remembered the location of it. This example leads us to the next indication of cognition: tool use behavior and causal understanding. Tool use, even things as simple as cracking a nut with a rock or using a cup to drink water, is evidence of cognition. Tools help us solve problems that we might not be able to do with our body alone. For instance, we use cars and bicycles and trains and planes and other modes of transportation to get places our feet may not be able to get us, at least places our feet cannot take us efficiently. Capuchins use slightly simpler tools, though tools nonetheless, to help them achieve various tasks. Examples include using rocks as hammers to break open nuts, sticks as probes to retrieve insects from inside a mound or a tree, and sticks and rakes to bring out-of-reach items within reach. Now, if you wanted to eat a bowl of rice and you had two choices of utensils to use, a pair of chopsticks or a pair of wet noodles, you would pick the chopsticks because you know that wet noodles do not have the rigidity required to pick up rice. That is an example of causal understanding, or understanding the relationship between a cause and effect without actually having to test it. Without trying to use the wet noodles to pick up some rice, you knew it would be a waste of time because you know that the noodles are flimsy when you need something rigid for the task. Finally, cognition can be seen socially as well. Social cognition includes things such as cooperation and prosocial behavior, or helping others. Machiavellian and social intelligence, or the ability to manipulate others' behavior, and social learning, which is being able to learn by example. All of these things come down to theory of mind, which is hypothesized to exist in a number of primate species, including capuchins. Theory of mind is the ability to attribute mental states to both yourself and others. In other words, it's being able to understand what someone else is thinking or feeling. For example, let's say there are two bags in a room, one blue and one green. Now let's say our friend Emma were to place her favorite teddy bear in the blue bag and then leave the room for a few minutes. During that time, our other friend Liam comes in and moves the teddy bear from the blue bag into the green bag instead. When Emma returns, which bag do you think she would look into to get her teddy bear? If you guessed that she would look into the blue bag, you're correctly using theory of mind. Even though you, the listener of the story, know that the bear moved locations, Emma doesn't know this because she left the room and couldn't see Liam moving the bear. And she knows that the bear couldn't move on its own. In other words, Emma holds a false belief that the bear is still in the blue bag because she did not receive all of the same information you did. In summary, Capuchins are very smart. In fact, they're so smart, they share a lot of complex cognitive abilities with us, making them even more similar than you might think, just from looking at them. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and please consider donating. Thanks.